I'm Kevin. And this is Alex.
Today we want to bring you through a couple versions of the Zercher Squat. Before we started filming, Kevin, you were talking about why you haven't loved Zercher Squats so far. Go ahead and fill me in with that.
Yeah, so I always have found them just a little bit awkward as I get to the hole, so the bottom of the squat. And I've never really needed to push them hard, so I just haven't worked out the kinks for it.
This is actually super, super common, and there's a really straightforward way that you can really work through this. I think for Zercher squats and deadlifts, it's not about following like a specific set of steps, but rather sort of like following like a North Star and allowing yourself to figure out what works best for you. So I'm gonna walk through, Kevin, what I've done with some of my own clients to help fix that discomfort in the bottom position. So Kevin is set up here with the rack just lower than his elbows so he can stand it up nice and easy. What I like to look for is a relatively narrow arm width. You don't have to force it, but don't let your elbows really flare out. So put it in the crook of the elbows. Go ahead and walk it out. And from here, I think it's very useful to attempt to stay upright, but essentially, we want to think about this as little as possible. So go ahead and just squat down nice and deep, and then stand it back up. I think a really good standard on these is that as you go down, we really want to get that bar to tap the top of the thighs and then come back up from here. This is a really, really good squat variation that as you train it harder, naturally the hips might come up a little bit, but it's not really anything that we have to worry about. Okay, so if we're running into that issue where we don't feel overly comfortable at the bottom, the traditional Zercher squat from a deadlift position from the floor tends to really clean this up. So what we're gonna do is start with kind of a wide stance like Kevin has here, and it's gonna sort of vary person to person. Some people will go pretty wide, some won't have to go nearly as wide, but we essentially go with a pretty narrow grip, stand it up from the floor, and then place it on our thighs and get deep into the squat. Here, we're gonna find that position where we can get our arms under the bar and stand it back up. Nice. This is actually going to be a very ideal or closer to your ideal for your squat. So go back down to the bottom and just sort of hang out here and back up. And even if it wasn't like absolutely perfect this time through, this tends to be a way to find a position that's more comfortable at the bottom. And what I'll also do in terms of like programming is have people do like long duration holds at the bottom. So go ahead down to the bottom. You can really place that bar on your thighs here. It's a great way to build some of that dorsiflexion that we need to really squat deep. And it allows you to get more comfort at that bottom position.
When I was doing the Zercher squat from the ground, I noticed that my arms were a lot closer together than when I took it off the rack. So I'm gonna try that difference in grip here and just kind of see how it feels with the squat.
Cool. And I'm going to interview him when he's at the bottom of a weighted squat so that we can be nice and calm and talk through the brace.
Good and relaxed.
Exactly. I think they look great. How do they feel?
It's feeling much better.
Hell yeah. Wow, another Zercher saved. I hope you guys learned something today. Definitely check out my channel at Electrum Performance. I have plenty more content like this. And Kevin actually has a ton of good content on his channel as well at KH Movement.